Okay, welcome to the review of the ADIDAS ESSNOVA carbon racket. This is a budget option from ADIDAS, something between the entry-level fiberglass rackets and the ADIPower line. As you can see, the shape of the mold, it's very similar to the ADIPower rackets, but the build is a little bit different than the team line, for example, of ADIPower. So this is a carbon frame racket and a carbon face racket. We've got 6K carbon according to the manufacturer, but I think it's 3K carbon and a couple of underlayers of fiberglass. At least it feels like that. So you would need to clarify what exactly they mean by 6K. So, I don't know. Never stumbled upon any other racket that had 6K carbon. The weight of the racket is between 360 to 375 grams. As I mentioned, it has the carbon frame and it has a carbon face. You can see the fibers crossing there. It's a nicely painted racket as well, nice color scheme. And what's really nice about this racket is that it has a rough surface. It feels like sandpaper. So combined with the soft EVA rubber inside of the racket and the surface, the contact of the ball with the racket should be long enough for it to create more spin than the gloss rackets. Apart from that, it's important that it comes with a couple of extra things, like, for example, the silicone protector on the top, so you don't have to buy that separately, which is a good thing. It always saves you a little bit of money. It comes with a poly bag that we can keep the racket in, so again, something extra. And how does this racket play? So I mentioned that the racket is should be coming to you with between 360 and 375 grams. This racket, actually, when I weighted it without overgrip, it weighted under 260 grams. So I don't know the quality control level in the factory. However, it's below what is advertised by ADIDAS. How this racket should come to you. So something to keep in mind, that the quality control regarding the weight of the racket might be a little bit off. However, you say that it's a bad thing, but sometimes it's a good thing, because if you're a bigger player like me, I'm 6'4", 1 centimeters. I have large hands. I always put 1 or 2 overgrips. If you're gonna start adding up the weight of overgrips that you put on the racket, and if you wanna change the protector for a little bit more sturdy one, that also adds weight to your racket, and all of a sudden, racket goes over 380, 390 grams, and it's very, very hard to play. Becomes very, very hard to play. So with this one, it's an issue only if you want a heavy racket. You can remedy it by adding some weight. For example, using some tennis tape or golf tape that is made of adhesive lead. You can just stick couple of weights on the sides, and there you go, your racket will have your desired weight. The handle on the racket is quite short, but it's pretty thick. So to feel comfortable with this racket, for me, one tightly is put on overgrip is enough. Usually I have to put 2 overgrips to feel comfortable with my grip. Here it was only 1. So if you're looking at the bumper being around 6 grams and the overgrip being around 6 grams and 360 gram racket, its total weight it's around 375, 374, 372, something like that. Okay, so how does this racket play? From the back of the court, you can feel that you have a little bit more control than a usual diamond racket, but you still have to remember that it's soft construction of the racket. So you feel the ball going into the face of the racket, and the contact point is compared to hard rackets, like for example the Babolat Veron, technical Veron, for example, which is supposed to be a bit softer than the Viper. This is like butter, so it's somewhere like Nox ML10 softness, maybe even softer. So if you're having army shoes, wrist shoes, this is a racket that would be good for you, I think, because it's quite soft. There is a good amount of control for an entry-level racket like this because of the shape of it. It's even though that it's diamond, it's oversized diamond, and it's widened here towards the throat, so that expands the sweet spot on the racket quite a bit. So even if you're gonna hit the ball a little bit below the normal sweet spot of a diamond racket or somewhere on the side, it still feels okay. And also the soft rubber in it allows you to play the ball over the net from the deep. It's because of the weight of this particular one, at least, it's a very maneuverable racket. So if you're blocked in a corner, or you have to quickly turn around and pick up the ball from almost from the floor, you are able to do it with this racket. And again, here the rubber helps you to get the ball on the other side. Lobs, I had a hard time to fill out the lobs with this because I usually play with a much harder rackets. So it just needs a little bit of adjustment period to get used to that. But once you get used to that and you feel out how much exactly you need to take, how much exactly you need to swing to get the lob on its way, then you should be fine. On the net, again, the softness of the racket is a good thing or a bad thing. If you're playing on touch, you have to take into account the trampoline effect that this racket causes, that the higher the energy of the ball is hitting the racket, the higher energy will be leaving the racket. So sometimes I found myself trying to cut the ball over the net, but the ball was going too high, and I needed to adjust the muscle memory to the racket. But again, if you are going for this racket from the get-go, or you're used to playing soft rackets, or you're coming from tennis and you like low tension on your strings, this is going to be like a similar feeling for you. So that's the feeling on the net. It's good to mention that the hard balls that you usually like you reach to, and on the hard rackets, they cause a lot of vibrations that can go to your head, and if you don't like it, this will be a good thing, because even on a mishit, you don't get a lot of massive like feedback, irritating feedback, like the rackets can do sometimes. So it saves your arm a lot. It's a very comfortable racket. If you were starting or playing a little bit and you have just a basic fiberglass racket, which is very fragile, and you're looking to replace it with something a little bit stronger and a little bit more powerful, to maybe add some smashes or bandejas into your game, then it's fine to go for this one, I think.